When you start out collecting fragrances, once in a while you're blown away by something truly magical, something that speaks to you, that you really feel some sort of connection with, if that makes any sense. It's something that is indescribable. Fragrances are a very subjective, emotional experience, and once in a while there's a fragrance that truly gets to you and you feel in love with, so to say. So this was a little memory trip for me, trip down to memory lane, to my early days of collecting fragrances, and then I went over my collection and checked out the ones that really spoke to me right from the start to make this list, which is basically a top 5 fragrances that I fell in love with right from the first sniff. So probably I could do another video in this style of format later on, but I chose to pick 5 fragrances from my early days of collecting fragrances. So I will start off from there and we'll see where it takes me. Going back through my teenage years, I didn't know niche fragrances back then, so I'm going to start out with one of the first fragrances that I purchased for myself, and this one is by Armani and it's called Code. Some people know it as Black Code, some people only know it as Code. As you can see, this is an older style bottle. This one is actually from, I think it was around 2010 where I last purchased Armani Code. 75 ml, only half full now. But wow, I still consider this to be one of the best Armani fragrances today. Although I'm really pleased with some of their current offerings, I think Armani as a house has been doing really well lately. I really enjoy Stronger With You, Code Absolu. I think Profumo was a little bit disappointing because it was too sweet for me personally, but I think Code Absolu is amazing. I believe the Acquadigio line has some amazing releases. Essenza being my favorite, which is unfortunately discontinued recently. Profumo, Acquadigio Profumo, also really nice one. So yeah, I really like the Giorgio Armani house, but I think Code is truly one of the best. I think it has something to do, the combination of the star anise with the soft leather in the dry down. It has a sort of spicy, slightly sweet, sensual leather. Truly a mysterious, seductive fragrance. And I can't inform you about reformulations. If there ever is a reformulation or not, I'm not aware of that. But how this bottle smells, it takes me back to my teenage years, and yeah, this is truly an amazing fragrance. So at number 5, or the first one to mention in this video, Armani Code Absolu. The second one that I'm going to mention on this list has one of the most interesting packagings of all time. And as you can see, this is an older style box. Le Mal by Jean-Paul Gaultier. I didn't have this fragrance in my collection when I was a teenager, but I had a best friend of me who wore this all the time and it just smelled amazing on him. I remember him overspraying the shit out of this can, out of this bottle. Not actually this bottle, but out of his bottle, obviously. But he wore way too much of it and it was so intensely strong. Also, he wore it in the summer, so it was kind of beast mode, killing out nostrils all over the classroom. But still, it really spoke to me. What is truly gorgeous about Le Mal is the combination of that classic fougère freshness from the lavender and the mint, but it also has those warm, oriental notes like the vanilla, the amber. It truly is, in my opinion, one of the best fragrances ever created in history. And I truly mean that. It's just one of those fragrances that I have a deep, deep love for. So I only got this bottle quite recently, and as you can see, the juice color is really, really dark yellow compared to current bottles. It is very, very different. This fragrance, wow. The Artemisia and the mint give it a slightly green but very fresh and uplifting vibe. The lavender is soothing and relaxing, but you have that sensual vanilla. It's wow. If you ever come across a vintage bottle like this, don't hesitate, buy it from the spot. If it's reasonably priced, of course, don't go pay around like 300 or more. eBay prices are ridiculous. Current Le Male is still a great, great fragrance, although some of the fresher notes like the Artemisia are toned down definitely, and it is a little bit more powdery and focused on the vanilla. It's a little bit sweeter now than it used to be. It had more depth, but all in all, it's still a great fragrance. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one, but it's just one of those fragrances. The first time I smelled it, I was blown away. So it makes this list as a second mention. So guys, couple years forward, and this is in the beginning that I started collecting fragrances. This is the first niche fragrance that I'm going to mention, by the house of Xerjoff, and this one is called More Than Words. So I've spoken about this fragrance quite a few times. I think it was on my Valentine's list back when I started, because I think it is another one of those that you can pull off for a date, a night out type of fragrance. This is actually one of the most beautiful rose-based fragrances that I have ever put my nose on. But it has a smoky and incensey, not necessarily smoky, but it has an incensey vibe to it. It's very sharp in a way, and it's very piercing, not in a bad type of way, but like really, it's a very present fragrance, in your face type of fragrance. It has some oud in there. It's very fruity as well, like dried fruits somehow. The note description on Fragrantica, I think, is not complete. I think the perfumer Chris Maurice, I think, who does these fragrances for Xerjoff, I think Chris Maurice has done an amazing job at using ingredients that smell really natural, but also putting in a lot of fixatives that make it stick to your skin like glue. Because if I spray this on in the morning, I can smell it clearly at the end of the day, and if I take a shower and late in the evening, it will start projecting again. And I think this, if you don't shower every day, this will last for 24 hours, if not more. Wow, it is truly, truly, it's one of the first love at first sniffs fragrances in a niche department for me. More Than Words by Xerjoff. And for the record, guys, Rose d'Arabie by Armani is nowhere near the same fragrance as this. I see a lot of comparisons between these two fragrances, but Rose d'Arabie is totally different. So for me, More Than Words is definitely the best one out of the two. All right, going to number 4 in this list, and this will not come as a surprise to anyone who has followed this channel for a while, or people who know me from, messages through Facebook groups and so on. I've mentioned this fragrance quite a few times by Christian Dior, and this one is of course Dior Homme Parfum. Dior Homme Intense is lovely, and I remember smelling Dior Homme Intense in the stores when it still had the silver colored sprayer, you know, back when it was in its first formulation. I believe that was 2009, somewhere around 2009, yeah. And I didn't buy it because at that time I started out collecting fragrances and I felt like Dior Homme Intense was quite feminine because of that beautiful lipstick vibe. And of course, today I feel kind of sorrow for not picking up a bottle back then. But I actually did buy one, by Dior Homme Intense in 2013, and I still have a lot of that juice left because I fall in and out of love with Dior Homme Intense, but Dior Homme Parfum truly is for me the best of the Dior Homme collection. Why? Because where Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme have somewhat of a femininity about them, which is to me at some points, at some times rather, a little bit too much. Dior Homme Parfum has a totally more rugged, balanced composition where it still has that delicate iris, but it also has like a masculinity because of the leather note, which is very pronounced in the composition, and it's just gorgeous. If I would ever have to trim down my collection to only a few fragrances, Dior Homme Parfum would definitely be in that list. And I know I've done a list, like a 4 for life type of list, but I feel like these kind of lists, they can change every now and then. I just don't understand why I haven't put this one on that list. I think I forgot about this fragrance, honestly. I think I forgot about it for even a couple of years. Getting into the niche type of fragrances, there's so many things that spoke to me between 2014 and 2016. I went really hard on the niche fragrances and I forgot about a couple of really great hitters, but this one, wow, one of the best fragrances of all time, honestly. This is in the same league of Le Male, of these type of fragrances truly make me happy. And as you can see, it's a 75 ml. It has been repackaged to 100 ml bottles, and I believe there's been mixed reviews about this one. People say that it's reformulated, other people say that it still has the same scent to it, but it lasts a little bit less. I don't know, I haven't experienced the newer bottles yet, but in this format, the old formulation, back until 2019, they produced the same type of powerful, sensual goodness. So, number 4 in this list, Dior Homme Parfum. And last but not least, this was the first fragrance from Roja Dove, which actually stole my heart. And this is none other than Amber Oud Parfum. Yeah, couldn't really remember if it's an EDP or Parfum, but it is a Parfum. So it's a highly concentrated fragrance. If you spray it on your skin, it leaves a little bit of an oily substance. This means it will last throughout the day, but where like a fragrance as More Than Words by Xerjoff truly projects like a monster, Amber Oud starts out strong, but it will be a little bit more reserved after a couple of hours. It still lasts for the entire day, if not more, because it has that high concentration, but the projection is a little bit more reserved, although being very present. Enough about that. This fragrance, again, is truly a masterpiece. And I think there are a lot of Roja Dove fragrances that are overpriced. Actually, if you're kind of realistic and sober and you relate to the amount of money it costs you, all of Roja's fragrances are overpriced, but it's not the point. There's a market for every fragrance, and I believe him positioning his brand as a luxury brand has done really well for him, and it allows him to use only the best ingredients, which is truly what you get with each and every offering by Roja Dove. And he has a high quality classical style of perfume making. I believe he was trained by Guerlain, which is one of the best houses as well. It's funny that I am not... Oh yeah, that's probably because Guerlain was a little bit later on in my fragrance journey. So maybe in the next video there will be some Guerlains. But Amber Oud, yeah, truly, truly gorgeous in a sense. His style of creating fragrances is gorgeous. This is my favorite ambergris fragrance of all time. It has a beautiful rose note that is wrapped around a slightly animalic ambergris, but it still feels really clean in a way, like a very luxurious, high quality soap. I've actually gotten that remark once from someone who said, "Ooh, someone smells like high quality soap." So high quality soapy fragrance. Of course, there's a lot more to it, but for me it's like a more interesting Prada L'Homme. And I don't mean that disrespectful in any way, not to Prada L'Homme or not to the House of Roja Dove, but that's a little bit how I feel about this one. It's a very versatile fragrance for the slightly colder days. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a winter only type of fragrance. I think I could wear this in the summer. If it's a mildly warm summer day, you can still pull this off, but don't go heavy on the sprays then. But I think it's very versatile fragrance. Beautiful, beautiful. Amber, oud. I think this has more amber than oud, and it's more of an ambergris than anything else. Oud, maybe, but like I said, rose, ambergris. Beautiful. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I will do another one of these in the future, but these are my first, throughout my years of collecting, these were my first love at first sniff type of fragrances. If you have any questions or anything that you want to mention or share, put it down in the comment sections. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.